Hi, this is One Hour Ladies Talk on Radio Inspiration FM. I have here with me.
Hi, I'm Chris Ross.
He is an extraordinary guy and he will tell you what he can do. Tell me.
Well, I've done lots of things throughout my life. Mainly, I do a lot of exploration. I've travelled pretty much around the world, seeing lots of different things, even third world countries. This is mainly because of my just interest in languages and culture, but principally because one of my main hobbies is actually chess. And
Yes.
Chess is one of these great games that facilitates lots of things, including travel, meeting lots of other different people, even people who you don't even have a mutual same language with. The game of chess can bring you together like that. And I've had quite an inspiring teaching career right the way through since I graduated as well. So, yeah, lots of things.
So what are you teaching?
I was a secondary school teacher for over 10 years. My main subject was German, although I did a little bit of French and quite a lot of what we call citizenship here in England. So yeah, that was interesting. And then I moved from teaching in secondary schools into higher education, and I went into support for disabled students at universities, helping them, go through their studies. And then once I'd moved on from that, I currently work now in a department that deals with academic development. So that's going around supporting lecturers, the professors and things like that, help them, with their teaching styles. And my particular remit is inclusive education. So that's making sure that all students in their studies, which includes gender, race, internationalisation, disability, all of those are fully incorporated into the teaching.
So where do you teach?
I used to teach it in secondary school in Huntingdon, which is in Cambridgeshire. But
now?
Currently, at the moment, I'm working at King's College in London, which is a Russell Group top 10 UK university, so it's very
Nice.
good university.
Very good indeed. And what about chess? What can you do in chess? Can you beat me up?
Probably.
Probably. You'll see why.
I'm quite lucky that I've had quite a prosperous chess career. I took the game up when I was just 15,
Wow.
and I've been playing quite heavily since then. I've tried giving up a couple of times, and it's one of these addictive games that always comes back to you. And
You have the microbe.
yeah, and then must have been about 7.5 years ago, I actually managed to obtain a title. So I did become actually a master of chess.
Nice.
So I do hold that ranking. Yeah,
What's your ranking?
it's very hard to put a ranking as like best in England or best in the world, because there's millions of people who play chess. The way the ranking works in chess is that you get a number after your name, but that number doesn't mean you're the 10th best in the country. It just means, the higher the number, the better you are. In England, being independent and identity oriented as it is, we have actually a separate system to everywhere else in the world. So most of the world has one grading system, and England has a separate one, which can be quite frustrating. But to get a master title, which I got, I got my number up to 2,200.
Wow.
And then the next master level, there's 4 levels of mastery. There's 2,200, 2,300, and then 2,300 is FIDE master. FIDE is the leading governing body of chess.
Yes.
And then after that, you become an international master and then a grandmaster.
Nice. So, good luck.
Yeah, so I'm on the process now. We're trying to get my second master title, which will be the FIDE master, and that would be very good. To get beyond that, to get to international master or grandmaster level, realistically, you have to have that as your day-to-day job, which obviously I already working at King's College in London, so I don't have the time really to
Yes.
devote my whole life to chess.
We'll talk more about chess, but today you came also with your dog.
Yes, I have Bovis.
What's his name?
Bovis. He's a black Labrador.
He's not good.
He's a lovely dog. He's a bit curious because he's very young still. He's 21 months old.
Nice.
So he's having a look around and having a sniff. So you might hear him for the rest
From
of the
time to
shift,
time
yeah.
you might hear him, yeah?
Yeah.
He's very beautiful.
Yes.
Very good color.
Yes.
And what else have you done? You told me something about parachuting, rock climbing.
Yeah. Again, about 10 years ago, I had a period of a couple of years where you could say early midlife crisis. I thought I'd try to do some adventurous stuff.
Yeah.
But I did it in the vein of trying to raise some money for charities, mainly chess charities, because the one charity that I particularly work for is called the Braille Chess Association.
Yes.
And that charity is there to promote and support visually impaired people to play chess.
So what have you done for them?
I've done all kinds of things. As I said, the biggest one was the parachute jump, which I did back in 2008, which
Nice.
was quite an awesome experience.
I looked at it and I said, oh my God, I'm not going to do it ever.
I would say it's the first 30 seconds was the most, if you like, terrifying, but almost thrilling as well. You know, as you're spilling out of the plane, you know, there was quite a lot of talk.
Why does the trainer put your head up? He always moves your head up.
Yeah, because you've got to be slightly careful, because as you exit the plane, what we call the strip stream, right, the wind, if you're angled not in a perfect way, you could be drawn backwards into the propellers of the plane.
Oh my God.
So you've got to exit the plane very, very carefully. So the
okay.
trainer obviously guide, because we're not expert, divers.
Yes.
So as I said, the first 30 seconds, that's the best when you're free falling and you're just going straight down and you can feel the wind rushing past you. And it's a phenomenal feeling. But then obviously once you pull the cords and the parachute opens, then I would almost say it's quite a boring experience then until you actually have to land. And then landing could be is quite a chore as well, because again, if you don't do it in the correct manner, if you don't come down carefully, you could easily break an ankle or leg, So I opted out and I came back down on my backside, so I had a quite comfortable thing.
Nice. What about rock climbing?
Yeah, I've done rock climbing. I've done quite a lot of abseiling as well. We did abseiling of viaducts and bridges. Again, just general, getting about and just doing things. It's, as I said, I've been to a lot of countries, third world countries. So went to India, to China, and walked along the wall.
Nice.
For a bit of fun. I said I've been to India, walked around a few places. Yeah, it's lots of rivers, been on rivers, water rafting and things like that. Yeah, it's
really fun. Your life is really fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I would say up to potentially 3 years ago, I certainly went out to make sure I got as many experiences as I could. One of the things that I deliberately did when I went to university, I tried to befriend as many non-English people as I could.
Yes.
And once I finished my graduation and started my teaching career, because teachers obviously have quite a few holidays throughout the summer, I deliberately invited myself out to all these people. And so I managed... So the combination of that and the chess, has enabled me to get to different places, because I know people there, and I've cheekily asked for free accommodation and guidance around. So yeah,
Nice.
But now obviously I'm getting to the age now where responsibilities come in. I've got the dog now, which I've got to take care of, and he needs to be fed and
Train him, of course.
and train him.
Not
and
to be so
everything.
curious,
Yeah.
not to look under the couch.
So it's getting to that time now. It's a young person's game.
Yeah, it is. So have you settled down? Do you have a family?
No. Well, I've got family members who. So I originate from the northeast, a tiny place called Thornaby, on Tees. So I have brother still up there. My mother is still about. So quite a large extended family. So I go up there from time to time. So by trade, I am a northerner, which means I'm quite bluntly spoken and things like that. Which so it very comes out to me. And my home local football team is getting beat as we speak at the moment, which is Middlesbrough. So they're playing Middlesbrough at the minute.
Oh my God!
Playing Manchester City.
What's the score?
It's 2-0 at the moment. Which
Okay, I hope it's not 7-0. Under Inspiration FM, I have here with me Chris Ross, and he told me everything about what he did in his life until now, and it is extraordinary. Many things I wouldn't do because I can see them, but he cannot see them. So he has a difficulty. How do you call it, Chris?
Condition. A lot of people call it condition, or politically can be called a challenge.
What exactly is it?
So I've got a visual impairment. So when I was quite young, just past my 8th birthday, I did finally lose my sight.
Okay, I understand. And ever since then, so you haven't seen anything?
No.
Your dog gets...
Yeah. So this is why I've got a dog now. So the dog helps with mobility.
Yes.
So he's my first dog. I've only had him a month, and obviously, he helps, getting around places, and because I'm getting to the age now, so when I walk into something, like all these boards outside shops and all these displays and things like that.
Yeah.
When I was younger, you could bash off them and kick them over and bang your shins and things like that, and it was all fine,
Yeah.
But now when I do it, it hurts more and more, and it takes longer and longer to recover. So, that's why I've got him now.
I think if it was after your dog, I think you will run around.
Yeah.
If you let him do what he wants.
So
He's very energetic.
yeah, he's very energetic. That's another thing I did when I was younger. I was a runner.
Yeah? How did you run?
I was actually a sprinter,
Yes.
and I was training quite heavily, and I nearly made it to the Paralympics in Atlanta in 1996, and unfortunately I got injured just before that, so I wasn't selected, which was incredibly sad.
Yeah.
But for a 15-year-old, I got down to, I think it was 11.8 seconds for 100 meters, which was incredibly fast. I was competing in sighted tournaments against sighted people. I did run once for the visually impaired England team, as it were, and that was in Barcelona in Spain, which was fairly good. Running in front of 20,000 people, all cheering you on. That was great. I didn't do very well in the race itself, but just representing England at the time was quite something. So this is how.
How do you run? I mean, if you cannot see, how do you run?
Well, there's two methods. The first method, you can actually run individually, so each runner runs alone, and then somebody at the far end shouts what number lane you're running in. That's quite a distracting way to run. The way I did it is you have a co-runner, so somebody's actually tied by the wrist to your right wrist.
Yes.
And you so it's like a three-legged race almost, but that takes a lot of training, and that took several years, being with the same person, training. I was training five days a week, in an evening, going to school, coming home, and then training. It was quite certain. Got obviously incredibly fit, and got around. But when I went to college, that sadly all fell away, because I was 17 and I was young, and life got hold of me. And I would say the visual impairment has driven me. It's motivated me to do all these activities. I would never have thought about running or even playing chess or anything like that. If I hadn't lost the sight, because I could been just sat at home and playing video games, or just doing sighted stuff. Even watching the television. That never really excited me. So in a backhanded way, it was slightly fortunate, and it's given me that stubbornness and that determination to do things.
I understand. And chess, how do you play chess?
Okay, now, because I've got to such a good level, I can actually personally play a full game, or play any chess material without a board. I can do everything internally in my visual inner memory. I would argue that any good chess player can do at least one game. There are many tricks, we call it blindfold chess, where a lot of people can play blindfold. I think the world record is, 47
Wow.
simultaneously, I think. Last February, I had a go at 29 boards, which was pretty hard going. So that I can play, as it were, on a normal sighted board, because I have that spatial awareness that I can pick up a piece as long as I know what my opponent's moved. So when I play in local leagues and in all these tournaments that I play, essentially the game is being played on two boards. My opponent has his board where he plays, so that's the normal sighted board, if you like, the usual board. And then in front of me, there is a braille set, a tactile set. Now, I personally don't need that, but the referees, what we call the arbiters and the tournament organisers, they need to be able to see that the representation of the game that I have in my mind is the correct position. Yeah?
Yes.
And then what you've got to do then is you've got to announce your move between yourselves. So my opponent announces his move, hits the clock. I announce my move, hit the clock. Now, interestingly, the international language for chess is German, which is a pure coincidence.
How come?
It's just written in the rules. The rules say that German is a spoken language. So when I go and play internationally, tournaments abroad, the language that is used to play chess is actually German.
Nice.
So
Good advantage.
Yeah, it's sort of fell into my lap with that. But it's a very interesting way to play the game. Now, again, it's been argued that chess is the only game where visual impaired players can actually play on the same level playing field, because it's all in the mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, there's some slight disadvantages. You have to use a chess set. You've got to, announce your moves. Some would argue that in a time scramble, so when you've got very little time left to play the game, you are at a slight disadvantage. But, overall, it's your skill versus your opponent's skill.
Yes, correct.
And that, for me, is really, really interesting. Now, I actually got into chess principally from snooker.
How did it come?
Right, so when I was a kid, I used to play quite a lot of snooker. Okay, not very well. But one of my idols, some of your listeners might have heard of him, is an English snooker player called Stephen Davis.
Yes.
Now, Stephen Davis, obviously world champion, very, very good snooker player, is also a chess player. Now, I knew this when I was younger, and when I lost my sight, I had to consider, what do I change all this strategic, tactical ability to? Thought about Steve Davis, and I knew the moves of chess. I'd been taught the moves by my brother, and I just walked into a chess club, I think when I was 14,
Yes.
and here I am, this time later, and I'm still playing because I just got hooked on it.
Yeah.
It's
that's good.
but you can imagine the places I've been to around the world, just because of this one game. And that's what it's enabled, me to do.
To do everything else.
To do everything else, yeah, but who would have gone to all these really obscure places, if chess wasn't the driving force for it,
Yes.
I just played in the Chess Olympiad, which is the chess equivalent of the Olympics. I played that last year in Azerbaijan, in Baku. You know, who would have thought? Who would ever dream of going to Baku? You know, it's just one of these random places. But yet, going there was a really, really enlightening experience.
I heard they have very good food.
Food was good.
It was very good. Why don't you say it?
Well, no, the environment was quite poor. There's quite a lot of pollution going on, especially in the Caspian Sea.
Yes.
They're dumping quite a lot of crude oil in the sea at the moment, which, you know, obviously destroys the marine life. But it was incredibly sad. But, you know, wonderful people, you know, as you say, wonderful food, great weather. And just, you know, experiencing the culture and
the smell. I guess you can experience the smell, the touch.
Yeah.
How does it smell, Azerbaijan?
It didn't smell great because of the crude oil, to be honest. But once you got away from the seashore, as it were, you know, it was quite a fresh, you know, wild, natural fragrance, which was really nice.
What kind of fragrance? What does it seem?
It was more, you know, like a flowery type. You know, I'm not very good with plants and things like that.
What is the best smell that you felt in your travels?
Best smell?
Yeah.
Whew. I personally do like the sea. I like the tangy, salty smell of the sea. So I quite like, you know, like boat trips, you know, down rivers and things like that, because you can sit and feel the wind on your face and the spray, and, you know, and if you're getting a commentary of what's going past and things like that. So, like, I did a boat trip in Minnesota going down the Mississippi once.
Wow.
And it was a wonderful experience, you know, just sitting and taking in the smells and feeling the spray and, you know, being told about all what the caves and, you know, what was on the banks and who had lived there.
The caves of Tom Sawyer.
I don't think of it. I can't remember what it was. I think there was some. They were mining something. They'd found some special gems or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And you just think about this river that just basically transverses most of the continent of North America. It's quite a phenomenal experience. We call the Braille Chess Association.
Yes.
And our chess sets are wooden. Now,
nice.
the way our chess sets work, it's a wooden chessboard, and the black squares, or what we call the dark squares, are slightly raised.
Yes.
So you can actually differentiate between the light and the dark squares, because the darker ones are raised. Now, with the pieces have a particular style. They're called Staunton, which are very much similar to normal chess pieces. But the way it works with us is that at the bottom of the piece, they have a peg.
Yes.
And then this peg slots into holes that are drilled through the centre of the squares.
Yes.
So the pieces are stood up on the chessboard, but they're in.
Yes.
So if a visually impaired person is feeling the board, which they're entitled to do, you know, their hands are on the boards and they don't knock the pieces over because the pieces are plugged into the squares.
Yes.
Now, the other way that it's differentiated is that usually on the black pieces, there's a very small nail that's hammered into the top of the piece. So again, by touch, if you find a nail on a chess piece, that normally designates that it's a black piece. Okay. So quite a lot of distinctions there.
With me, Chris Ross, the master of chess. He's really a master, so no doubt about it. So I was asking you off air, why don't they teach chess in schools?
Yeah, unfortunately in this country, chess is seen as a bit of a nerdy game.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, here in the UK, it's very much focused on sporty type stuff, you know, so it's more interesting in football and things like that. There's no time in the curriculum for chess, because chess takes a long time. So the only time that chess is really ever done in schools is at lunch times or after school. And obviously at lunch times, kids have got better things to do, they want to go and get the food. There's not much time left, and after school they just want to go home. So the interest is not really there, which is sad, because like in some places, take Russia as the perfect example, they actually ask in their maths lessons very early on. So even kids when they were 5-6 years old, they're posed chess problems in their maths lessons, because chess in that sense can teach you all about shape, variation, multiplication, calculation. There's a lot of maths in there, and Russia, sees that that's quite important, in their schools. Now, there isn't many schools in England that have specialist chess teachers. There's one or two, and they're very far, and there's not much money in chess as well, which is the really sad thing. So
Yes.
kids here are not really interested in playing, because if they can't go out and earn £1 million, then they prefer
Why bother?
they won't bother. They prefer to go and kick a football around, and it's not glorified. You don't see it on television. You don't see
Yeah.
it anywhere else.
I found a website on internet. It's www.chess.com, and it has an article about 5 skills chess teaches kids, and they say it's logic. I'm just going to read them, not to go into detail. Attention to detail, discipline, that is much hated here, explaining difficult concepts, and collaboration.
Yeah, I agree with all of those.
How do you think collaboration can be taught with chess?
Especially in team situations, because you've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to have a team ethos, approach, idea. And in a match situation, you've got to be able to collaborate with your team members to try to get the best results. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think collaboration is a very big thing.
So how do you collaborate with your colleague?
It's, for example, say if the team's in a situation where it's like 5 points each, and you could possibly push for a win, but a draw would actually secure the match win for you, then you would take a draw, self-sacrifice maybe some ranking points of your own, and take a draw, accept a draw to win the match. So you're collaborating with your team fellows.
Okay.
And also you could collaborate with your teammates to see what colour you'd want. Because if you know one of your teammates is a better player with white, if you win a toss or anything like that, you could change the board order around to try and guarantee him his preferred colour.
Okay, understand. What about the styles of chess? Can you say in 1 minute?
Well, there's lots of styles of chess. We can obviously talk about it after the hour, but there's a positional, there's deemed positional chess and there's tactical chess. And they're two very, very different styles. I personally am a positional player. Tactical tends to be a lot of calculation, attacking, you could almost say, whereas positional can be seen as more defensive.
How many moves can you see in the future?
I personally can calculate quite a lot. Very good chess players, grandmasters, they could see whole games ahead.
Wow.
But you can calculate